Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. I'm going to talk today about a recent survey that has been conducted by the Ministry of Justice concerning reviews of the conditions pertaining in HM prisons for staff, not for the inmates, for the staff. And it was reported in yesterday's Evening Standard in London. You can look that up, yeah? Basically, what the results were, it says that over 50% of all staff working in HM prisons believe that it's unsafe. They found that 3/4 of the staff were considering leaving the service within 5 years. They also found that the reasons that people were claiming that they couldn't continue working in HM prisons and were looking elsewhere was poor pay, a fear of being injured whilst on duty, and a total lack of confidence in the management. Well, the problem that you've got here is if you've not got a contented workforce, then you're seriously in trouble because you rely on that workforce to actually control the population of the prisons that is definitely wanting to be somewhere else. So unless they actually respect the authority of the officers that are controlling them, then they are going to make life a misery. And they will definitely try and disrupt the day-to-day running of the organisation, which is not going to help matters one little bit. It's going to create problems, hence the staff do not feel safe on duty. And of course, you can understand why they wouldn't feel safe on duty, because today, in HM prisons, if you press the alarm bell, you're going to get the tiller girls arriving. You know, instead of a bunch of rather angry officers bearing gifts, that's gone. Finished. And the prison system really is facing a crisis. The general consensus of this report that was made by the Ministry of Justice was that the prison system within 5 years will be unworkable. Listen, Ministry of Justice, the system already is unworkable. And the reason that it's unworkable is that you've decided in your great wisdom, using psychological think tanks, and don't tell me you don't do it, because I know that you do, and they've thought, well, if we put women into the prison as prison officers, that will calm the situation down. Yep, in your dreams maybe, and certainly it might look great on paper, and sound very promising in some kind of think tank boardroom where you're all sat round scratching your heads, drinking tea and dipping your ginger nuts in. But when it comes down to real life on the landings, when you've got 500, maybe to 1,000 inmates that don't really want to comply, and it's 90 degrees in the cells and they won't go in, what will your hostesses do then? I'll tell you what they'll do then. They'll turn around and head for the exits, which is exactly what you're faced with now. Because they are all, well, a vast majority of them are talking of resigning, moving on. And I previously banged this drum on this podcast before. You see, if people can get more money stacking shelves at Tesco's, then that's where they're going. They are not going to put their lives at risk, pounding the beat in Strange Ways or Wormwood Scrubs, Pentonville, Wandsworth, Walton Jail, Birmingham, Armley Jail at Leeds. They're just not going to do it. And also it's a dirty, filthy, stinking cesspit of a job. I mean, when I did it, it was a career. When you started, you were actually paid more on appointment than a police officer on appointment. Your pension you could accrue, and it was paid in 80ths, and the best you could get was 40 80ths. So at the end of your retirement, you got a lump sum equivalent to about a year's wages, and 40 80ths. In other words, you retired on half pay. So, as I said, when I left after 10 years service, my last year's service, I was on something like 17,500. So I would have been on, what, 8,500, 8,750 as a pension. That's going back to when did I retire? 85. Yeah, so it's virtually 40 years ago. Today, prison staff are coming up to retirement, and they're getting like 8,000 a year as a pension after serving 30 years. But there's nobody getting there anymore. In the prison service now, 33% or 1/3 of all staff have got less than 2 years service in. So who is teaching the jailers the job? And how can you teach the job to a 22-year-old female graduate who weighs 110 pounds and stands 5'2"? You can't say, listen, what we'll do is you take his legs, I'll take his head. We'll hold him down and the nursing staff will come in and give him Largactil up the Jacksy. It's not going to happen, is it? Anyway, that's what's happening now. The Ministry of Justice is now fully aware that they've got a time bomb on their hands. That's what the report calls it, a time bomb. The prison system is a time bomb waiting to explode. It will, and they don't know what to do. And as for this, no confidence in senior management. The senior management are woke, are you with me? They come from a woke culture, where you don't speak to inmates. Like, I mean, let's say some inmate said to me, I'm not getting this, so I won't piss off. Just say, I am not asking you to go in your cell, I'm telling you, and if you don't voluntarily walk into that cell, and I'll shut the door. If you don't do it, then I will put you in it. You're not going to get many people doing that these days, are they? I mean, why would they do it? Hey, if they can get a case of beans and stack them on a shelf in Tesco's and get more money. I mean, when I joined in 1974, started on the 1st of January 1975. When I joined, it was a career. And you worked through it, and there was an incremental scale where you went up the scale, and at the end of your career, you got a really good pension, or what amounts to the best pension that you could get was a civil service pension, because as a Home Office employee, you were a civil servant. Not anymore. I mean, you can go and work for G4S or whatever, or Serco or whatever it's called, and they'll pay you the basic rate. They lost control a long time ago. The whole thing stinks. Don't forget to get my new book, folks. It's here. Yeah, it's doing quite well, actually. There you are. HM Manchester Prison Officer Part 2. That's me as a young man there, 1976. Get that? What a handsome chappie he was. Look at him now, naked. Got to wear a hat 'cause he's got a baldy head. See? Anyway, thanks to all of you who are making nice comments about my latest book. I do try, I really do. Anyway, I'm now going to... I'm ringing the ding-dong because I'm going to give it a go. See if I can get the song going here. What do you reckon? Can I do it? Of course I can. Grab your goat and run for the hills. This is a song by Burl Ives that I particularly like. I'm playing my guitar for you, but I'm going to sing it in the best way I can. Are you ready? It's called A Little Bitty Tear. A A little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown, but a little bitty tear let me down. You said you were leaving tomorrow. Today would be our last day. I said there'd be no sorrow, that I'd laugh when you walked away. But a little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown, but a little bitty tear let me down. I said I'd laugh when you left me, pull a funny as you walked out the door, that I'd have another one waiting, and I'd wave goodbye as you go. Then a little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown, but a little bitty tear let me down. Everything went like I planned it, and I really put on quite a show. In my heart I felt I could stand it. Then you walked with your grip through the door, and a little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown. Oh, a little bitty tear let me down. A little bitty tear let me down. There we go. A little bitty tear. Thanks for watching Tales from the Jails.